Environmental sustainability in theatre has grown organically, almost like an ecosystem of people and performances. It has expanded due to the urgency of climate change. Within the United Kingdom, design has started to engage with sustainability. For example, artists such as Minty Donald, Mona Castell, and Andrea Carr have used site-specific and material-based theatre techniques. Some companies, such as Pigfoot and Green Opera, aim to reduce their carbon footprint or avoid waste. Consultants like Julie's Bicycle and Creative Carbon Scotland organise events and they calculate the footprint of different arts organisations. Movements and groups such as Culture Declares and Staging Change have started networks between theatre communities that are interested in sustainability. Scholarship has continued to grow also, following on from Una Chowdhury's influential essay in the 1994 Theatre Journal, There Must Be a Lot of Fish in That Lake, toward an ecological theatre.
In February of 2020, the Society of British Theatre Designers hosted a sustainability roundtable conversation at their Staging Places event at the V&A in London. These events emerged during the restructuring of the Society of British Theatre Designers with the question, what would actually be useful for designers? Letting designers with a range of experience and knowledge have informal conversations about the future. We discussed how designers could practice more sustainability. The conversation was full of passion for change in the industry. We talked about finding new materials, measuring carbon footprints, and avoiding waste. This V&A event helped form many of the working groups in the Society of British Theatre Designers, but it was post-event drinks where our sustainable design group really took shape. We moved to regular meetings online during the UK lockdown due to COVID-19 pandemic. We stayed passionate and connected, which helped the group grow and develop naturally. Zoom became our primary tool for communication. The group flourished online, being able to connect with a range of people nationally and internationally. The stage talks are unforced and contrast a sense of the local with a sense of the global. The talks are a form of performance, as there is a greater awareness of the voice, given that there is no longer the ability to use movement, architecture, gesture, and body language. We, as members of this project, had to adapt to a new environment and move away from visual tools towards dialogue, verbal feedback, debate, discussion, and demos. In the group, design is produced from a chamber of voices that play with ideas and the form in which these ideas arise. Experimentation, playfulness, speculation, and incomplete thoughts have become a key aspect of how we approach some of the issues.
We do not have all of the answers, and some answers need further testing. But by staging a design conversation, we wish to refine the solutions by sharing our experiences. Fundamentally, we wanted to frame sustainability as an inclusive, creative opportunity rather than a constraint to theatre.
During our initial group meeting, a big issue we talked about was the fear of failure when it comes to being sustainable. Being discouraged to try if you think you can't do things perfectly. This has become a theme in many of the projects we do. We want to have a conversation about the sustainability issue in theatre, to learn from each other's failures and successes and help guide each other going forwards. We want to have a place where we can collect the research and ideas about sustainability in theatre to help people make a more informed decision so the prospect of being sustainable isn't so scary. Once you've stopped studying, it's very easy and saddening to miss the community you had, the collective problem solving with the people in your studio. Especially in design, you can become quite isolated from your colleagues. The rise in online meetings has meant we can recreate this community studio feel with our sustainable studio events. Once a month, someone presents a project, either current or past, and we discuss the sustainable aspects of it, looking at what went well, what could be improved if done again, or just asking for advice on a current show. It's been a great resource for sharing ideas and knowledge, as well as learning from one another, and sharing our failures at being sustainable is a useful learning experience. It's also great when members of other areas, such as production managers, join, as it's another viewpoint we may not have considered. Theatre is collaborative, so when discussing the future, you also have to be collaborative and share. While we are learning about practicing sustainability, we are also learning how to teach it. Carbon literacy is defined as an awareness of the carbon dioxide costs and impact of everyday activities, and the ability and motivation to reduce emissions on an individual, community, and organisational basis. This is another form of feedback within the group. The Carbon Literacy Project is an organisation that is helping educate individuals and organisations about climate change and the carbon footprint, and opening discussions about what people can do to help. They provide a day of training for individuals and industries. However, there has been no training tailored for the creative design area of performing arts. Although some companies, such as Opera North, have training, we do not feel it covers the issues designers are tackling. So, as the Sustainability Design Group, we decided we should create this tailored training. We are currently researching and working on it, and hope by the end we will have regional mentors around the UK. This sustainability group also has close links with our sister project EcoStage. EcoStage was launched in 2015 and is currently being re-envisioned by a group of ecologically minded designers. Its aim is to be the go-to place for practical guidelines and ecological values that help all performing art practitioners make their practices more sustainable. The group will continue to develop new projects and to explore ways in which sustainability can push theatre in exciting new directions. They wish for more people to pledge to be environmentally conscious when creating theatre, not just designers, but any role in the production process. A production on any level is a collaborative endeavour, as is the struggle to be more sustainable. Within our large group, we have created smaller groups that focus on different issues we wish to explore in the design process. One of these groups is looking at the materials we use to construct our sets and model boxes. We've been looking at materials that are made of recycled materials, as well as those made of more renewable resources. It's been interesting to see what is available, as well as the limitations these materials create. For example, biodegradable foam board is great, as it is a material we often use, although it's currently limited in colour and thickness, which will discourage people from using it. We wish to create a materials list. The prototype is seen on screen. This is so designers and construction teams can easily access alternative material ideas. We also wish to use this database to explore local manufacturers and suppliers, as the combined emissions of transport is a big contributor to the negative impact of a material. There are many factors in which a material can impact the environment, so we want to provide as much information so people can make the best decision. Our next step is going to be to sample materials. We want to see how they could function for a designer or builder, as well as how durable and waterproof they are. Along with this materials list, we have also started a group looking into costume and the materials and techniques used. We've had great international meetings with designers around the world, looking at materials and techniques they are using to confront the global environmental crisis. There are some great ideas and we should keep the discussion going worldwide.
Just as we are here today before all of you, the scope of the SBTD Sustainability Group goes far beyond. As a group, there is an underlying consideration of what the role of the set designer is. This role encompasses so much, and the lines of our creative territory are often unclear. As recent graduates, Blue and I know that the extent of this role was not typically unpacked within drama school or university curriculum, and it is often a struggle when trying to fit into the normative career progression. It is not only the pandemic that has affected the number of opportunities, it is the growing number of students that are not reflected in the positions available for entry-level candidates. We want there to be not only one way to be a designer. There should be a diverse, organic range of opportunities, as much as there should be a diverse, organic range of people who take up those opportunities. So, just as our education needs to present set design for theatre as a viable career option, and our industry must further facilitate and reflect this belief, courses and the arts itself must also consider the importance of embedding sustainable design practices into their structure. We are working towards adapting to a world filled with waste and increasing environmental instability. The SBTD Sustainable Design Group is working to build knowledge of ecologically minded practices rather than dismantle the past. It is about adapting methods and tools that we know to instigate actionable change, rather than starting totally from scratch and shaking a role that is already under such constraints. With a designer so often spread so thin, we need the clarity. Understanding the role of the designer means that we can understand how that role can decrease a production's environmental impact. This is what the SBTD Group champions. Post-COVID, we must alter modes and styles to adapt to a changing industry, to show that design is not only a sustainable career option on a personal level for mental health, fair pay and working hours and conditions, but also environmentally sustainable. With more people working from home, the theatre industry seems to have become much more geographically accessible. With the new technologies and the Zoom era very much upon us, we can connect to audiences that we would not normally be able to. This has advantages and disadvantages for engaging with sustainable theatre. As an online group, we can avoid carbon footprints that would be created if we met in person. We can also connect with a variety of different regions and all that they have to offer, materials, sites, and even local practitioners, which is important when thinking about greener practice. Rather than outsourcing from huge distances across the UK, we can find those connections that are closer to home. The local and describing the local has been a key theme within the discussion of the SBTD, and Zoom allows for some of the specific details concerning different communities to be voiced. However, we cannot disqualify the demand that Zoom and other online platforms place on communities with very little arts funding. Even the assumption of technology and Wi-Fi connectivity isolates those without access to these services. We are not perfect in this respect, but we are continually researching, learning and adapting to the evolving industry, finding ways to reduce our imprint on the earth at the same time.
With the designer and the arts industry itself under incredible constraints, the pandemic, financial and access issues, and the climate crisis, now is the time to reflect on our practice. It is the time to start conversations, bring in new voices to diversify and feed our creative ecosystem. An ecosystem is a dynamic entity. We produce such a variety of performances, and as the individuals making these performances, we can always learn more.
We hope to further expand the reach of the SBTD and the Sustainable Design Group, and the work it does to educate others on more ethical and ecologically minded ways of working, and to gain even more voices working towards this shared purpose. Through thinking, talking and learning, ecosystems can recover from destruction, and although in the UK especially we are still standing and the light is still on, we won't stop our efforts to support and build upon our creative ecosystem, both the people and the natural world encapsulated within it.